Welcome to Legends of Grayskull, the podcast that dives deep into the mythology of Masters of the Universe, with your hosts Matthew Dooch and Sean Scavarna. News, reviews, remasterings and more are just ahead on Legends of Grayskull.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 91 of Legends of Grayskull, the fan podcast where we discuss the history, the mystery, the magic, and mythology of He-Man, She-Ra, Eternia, Etheria, Norador, Primus, New Adventures, Old Adventures, Ladybird, UK Annuals, comics, mini-comics, anything and everything you can think of with that He-Man, She-Ra, Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power, that Mattel logo down in the corner. Back again, I am Matthew Dooch, here again with Sean Scavarna. Sean, how are we doing today?
It's been too long since I've heard that intro. That is crazy.
I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull it out before I started, to be honest with you. It's one of those things where you're like, man, what do I say? But then once you hit those first couple words, it's like, oh yeah, don't worry.
And then it just right off the tongue, you're good to go. Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. So yeah, it's been like before we started recording.
It's been a
while. It's been a month. It's been a while. Yeah. So it's like, wow, we have some catching up to do tonight. So this will be fun.
Well, that's it's been a while.
Yeah.
But we've been off-worlding.
We have been.
So yes. I hope everyone's been enjoying those. Go check those out. But that's also kind of weird, right? Because now it's back to just the two of us. It feels a little empty in here without Matt Rod and the Jesse. So
yeah, but you know what? It's kind of fun to go back to basics every now and then. It makes you appreciate when you bring in the company instead of the company just driving you crazy every single time.
Right.
Because Matt Rod eventually we'd be like, you can't keep showing your legs. It's a little too much. Jesse, quit it with the hair. Matt Rod's nipples get hard. It's just Well, let's just get to the Masters.
We had to kick Matt Rod out of the chat today when we got in here because we were like, opened it up and we're like, hey, and he just popped up and it's like, dude, you're still here? Like,
yeah,
we recorded like 2 weeks ago and he was just chilling, waiting.
He's like, are we recording tonight?
Right.
Like, go away. We're trying to do something, just the two of us.
I had to change the password and all that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But yeah, it's been a while. So how have you been?
It's been a while. I've been traveling, so
yeah.
Can work.
Another hotel room here.
Another hotel room again, but I'll be heading home in a couple of days. It's all good. But we had a lot of stuff happen this last month.
Yeah.
And we got a lot coming up here, so that's why we decided to get out here, talk to you guys, because actually it'll be premiered. It's premiering tomorrow, Season 3, Part 3, whatever you want to look at it as, of the CGI He-Man's coming out. So, that we're looking forward to. We'll have to get an episode on that once we both complete it. We've got, we just marked the 40th anniversary yesterday of the 2002 MYP series premiering.
20th.
Yep, that's what I said.
Yuka will write in, that.
He always does. Well, it's just kind of funny because I never really noticed how that whole series premiered 20 years after the original. So because we are in the 40th anniversary of He-Man right now.
That's true.
And now it's the 20th of MYP, so that's why it keeps getting confused in my mind.
Yeah. It's okay. It's all right.
As you'll see, we got that little foil logo coming up on a lot of toys we're going to look at tonight. So it's kind of, and it really hammers home. Like, as of right now, we are as far from MYP as MYP was from Filmation when it premiered.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, we aren't going to deep dive into this tonight.
No,
folks,
we got something fun planned to celebrate the 20th of MYP. You know us, we're big MYP fans, so we've got something coming, just not this episode. Yeah,
but the thing that still gets me is I'm thinking of it, and it's like, 20 years ago, I was flipping through that Toy Fair issue and seeing the Horsemen's new designs and seeing all those new sculpts that they made and all that, and it was this like Renaissance kind of feeling, like everything that I grew up with still mattered, and now it was mattering on like a scale that I was excited about, being in my 20s now. So I don't know, it's like that was this weird phase of my life. Like, I felt lost. We were talking about this too, about the whole getting out into the world before we started recording. The whole, high school doesn't prepare you for what it's like to get out there. And when I got out there, it really was like, oh dear God. And then the next thing I knew, the He-Man was still there. And He-Man was back. And it just had that like, hey, that's still out there, so that makes me feel like my childhood's still relevant, just like when I had kids of my own, and the same thing happened for me with classics. So it's really crazy how that cycle works, even within the branding.
It's funny, because I just happened to bring a box of stuff with me to go through here, and I thought I might have had that Toy Fair. I got a bunch of Toy Fairs. I don't have that one with me, though. I do have the Snake Armor He-Man one, though.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it's just funny that
I have it down here somewhere. I really wish I could find it right now. I didn't even think to grab it before we started recording.
Well, that's just funny. You just talked about it. I looked over and it's like, oh, I got that stack right there. I wonder if it's there. But yeah, I mean,
I had.
Shoot, I was a junior in high school when MYP premiered. I told the story before, way back in episode 1, but like, I remember August 16th. 2002, it premiered on Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater, which was like their, that's where they showed the cartoon movies. It was like once a week they showed a movie. It had this intro and everything. I had to go to work that night, and I watched just enough of it to like where Randor's entering the Hall of Wisdom, like just that beginning part, as I put the blank tape in, hit record, and watched like 2 minutes of it, and then I had to take off, and kicked off a renaissance.
Mm-hmm. And then there's me, who I see a couple episodes, and I got offended because I thought basically it was supposed to be like, I don't remember what episode to this day that it was that I watched, but I remember thinking it felt like watching Filmation, slightly updated, but the things that they did that I was like, they're going to change this, but I want to see how they do it. When I saw it, like the transformation, that was the most underwhelming thing for me. And I'm like, I don't know. And I just walk away from it.
Yeah.
Because Filmation still has the most, like, bam. It's like, like
Absolutely.
For what they did at that time. And now when I look back on that, I'm like, oh, if you would have only sat a little longer, dude, you would have been more involved with this than you were. And it took you another 3 years before you embraced it the way that you did. But by that point, you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever.
And if you had watched it, Cartoon Network wouldn't have canceled it, and we would have gotten season 3. They've said many times over the years they were one viewer shy,
one more
of a renewal. Yes. Yeah, so I mean,
I couldn't save the day. I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's on you.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Anytime somebody has that, what series do you want to have come back? Every single time, the first thing out of my mouth is 2000X MYP. Like, I don't care if they don't have the same people. It's like the Kevin Smith deal.
Won't be
Please just take it and run with it.
It won't be the same. It won't.
I know. It won't.
For those kind of things, I'd rather do a show that I would just like. This is like. I can't even think of something off the top of my head, but like something I was like I watched, but I wasn't super into. Like I liked it. Those are the kind of shows I'm like, yeah, let's do more of that because like any of those shows that I really loved, it's like it just some of those were just magic in a bottle, and there's no way. Or I bring it up again because Young Justice, they got that, they got their continuation. But I watched those new episodes and I'm like, this is not what would have come out back then. And so it's not that the new seasons are bad. It's more like, man, I really wish if they were going to follow these storylines, like just reboot it. Like just just start over here because this is not where this was going.
So, Agreed.
We'll get there.
Yep.
You wanted to talk about Nate right quick.
For anyone who wasn't lucky enough to make it out to PowerCon last weekend, Nate Barch had posted that he was going to be putting up any prints he had left over from PowerCon online. Basically, you can reach out to him, Nate Barch Design, or Nate Barch on Facebook, and just give him a direct message, a DM, whatever, and he will set you up using PayPal, and I think there's a couple of different cash apps to pay him, and he'll send you out whichever one. But I know early this afternoon he did say the Revelation print that was available exclusively for PowerCon is now sold out already. But there are the ones of like the new Eternia Skeletor, new Eternia He-Man, a lot of the newer stuff, which is really cool, Beastman and stuff. Yeah, it's all out there. So as of this recording, he still had some left. Reach out to him if you want to have some really awesome artwork.
Absolutely. And Sean has one of those. He probably doesn't have it near him to show, but he has it.
I thought of that a half hour before I came downstairs. I'll bring it on the next one because you know what? I got to give props to Jesse on that because if we're gonna have Jesse back on, I do need to give him a thank you for that one because he did surprise the hell out of me with that from last week.
Spoiler alert, Skavarna dropping the bombs.
I said if we're gonna have Jesse back on.
No one would have ever seen that coming.
Yeah, well, hey, but yeah, that was pretty darn sweet.
Arabsolutely. All right, let's get to the news because we got a ton of it, and we are going to plug toyarc.com. That is where I am pulling all of my images from. So thank you guys for doing the heavy lifting work, and we're going to go over here so everyone can look along with us. So Toy Arc, actually got a nice little feature there on Toy Arc where if you go to their news section, you can actually select the line you want to look at. So we're in the Motu news section. Excuse me. And we're just going to look at some stuff here. First up, we've got the Fisher-Price Little People collection. Masters of the Universe Skeletor's Stronghold set. Now, as most of you know, they released a set of Little People and probably at least a year ago now. They released He-Man, Skeletor, Beastman, and Man-at-Arms in the set. I did get that set for my... at the time, it was his first birthday. My nephew... I guess it'd be my great-nephew. He's my niece's son. So, Nico. So he's got that. So they've released this new set, which also comes with a He-Man and a Skeletor. But then it also comes with Mossman and Faker. Way to put no new tooling in there. And that's basically it, because Mossman has the Beastman armor. It is a straight paint of the Beastman figure. That was already released, and then of course Faker is just a repaint of He-Man. So
yeah,
it is a nice little way to get another set out. I like the kind of holographic packaging it's got on it, and it It's got the 40th sticker. It's got some cool artwork on the back, too. Little kitty-fied. And since they use the Beast Man for the Moss Man, he does have the armor on still, so they used the weapons pack yellow coloring.
Yeah.
And it does come with, it looks like a little purple, like, holder for them, which is supposed to be like a Snake Mountain background, so. I'm really impressed by the artwork the most, honestly. It's a really nice pack, and they each have bios. Let's think, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, for like, you know, if you want to get a little, no offense, the little people, but if you want to get somebody that you know who's like a 1-2-year-old and have them with the sight recognition of Masters, definitely. I mean, they're colorful. I used to have some of these when I was a kid for like the Muppets and things like that, and they were easy for me to just get my hands on, and I just play around with them in the bathtub and things. So, yeah, it's not something I'm buying, but it's definitely something where it's like, it's nice to see it's out there, and it's also like, you know, they're really pushing to have the brand in so many different places nowadays, which is, again, like, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we would have never been saying this stuff.
No.
This is like, it's so recent, but it still feels so, you know, like new at the same time, and that this is the diversification they're doing to push the characters out there.
Yep. Nope, same thing. Honestly, even that last set I waited, like they hit Target on a like clearance sale, and that's when I don't know, it was like $9.99 or something, and so I'm like, yeah, I'll get that, but I think this is going to be on Maddie Collector for like $20 or $30. Like, nope, I'm passing there. But yeah, it's one of those things, if I see it in stores, I'll probably pick it up for the little guy.
Yeah, it says that the set was available to order actually last Friday.
Oh, look at that. We missed it already.
$30 over at Mattel Creations. So,
reading is power. I wonder if it's still there. Because I know that Snake Mountain Mega Constructs was sitting there for a while.
Oh, really? I figured after how the Grayskull... Well, then again, Grayskull was a little pricey for people, so that probably... Yeah, same deal.
Yep, you can still get it right now, $30.
There you go.
Yep, available now on Mattel Creations. So... That's the thing, they're not really with the... well, we can talk about Mattel Creations right now. Like, that Snake Mountain... I mean, it's expensive. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but it's expensive. And, it's kind of interesting that you just put that up. $321 for the Snake Mountain Mega Constructs, and it is still available to... that's something I'm surprised that they don't do as a crowdfunding. You know, like... Yeah. Here's a month pre-order. If we hit X amount, we put in production. It's weird. It's weird what they're doing with Mattel Creations right now, because they're kind of branching out in this stuff that should be retail. And from what I hear, that Snake Mountain is going to go to retail. So again, it's like, well, why should I pull the trigger on Mattel Creations if it's coming to retail? It's just kind of a weird kind of spot right now.
Ever since Mattel Creations has started, I have not really bothered with it. It's just one of those things where I look at it as, this is like the niche kitschy kind of stuff in that way, like the Mad Saki things. So the minute that was how it started, that was like the toe in the water there. I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to worry about going on this website, because I don't need a crystal clear Skeletor from Origins. I don't need Mad Saki. And I have never had my fingers on the pulse of that website ever since.
Right,
and then when this is what it is, it's like, that should be out in retail, like you're saying. It shouldn't even be on there.
Right.
So...
No, that's definitely weird that then switched to like, oh, now here's just Mega Constructs. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like... I think they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do there. Next up, over at Toy Arc, we are looking at Iron Studios. they released quite a bit. Now, these are the smaller statues. I'm already in the gallery. Sean will probably have some text to share with us that tells us exactly how tall they are. But I just know they're smaller than like the sideshow and all that. They released the He-Man standing in front of Grayskull in the transformation pose. The Beast Man with his whip. They showed a Hordak with Imp, very Filmation-esque. The Rain Man, Stratos. I see a Sorceress in the background. Lots of little just single character action poses. Yeah, that Stratos is pretty cool. It's got him launching off. Evil Lyn casting a spell. Man-at-Arms. They're really going all out all of a sudden. Their Sorceress is beautiful. I really like her pose and her wingspan and all that, and she's very classic. And then they got a whole bunch of other properties, but those are the He-Man ones.
Yeah, and I think they're really beautiful looking.
Yeah.
It's got that, like, when I see those, I almost feel like they should do the Mondo treatment to them. And I know a lot of people will always go to Filmation, and that's basically, it feels like that because, like, Man-at-Arms, Sorceress, He-Man even. Like, He-Man, when you look at his belt, Stratos.
Very Filmation-y.
Like, there's like, his belt is the flat belt, like in the show. And when I looked at that, I'm like, well, for all of the detail you're getting into this, maybe that's what they had to license to. I don't know. But I kind of wish they would have gone a little more detailed with some of that stuff. Especially He-Man, to me, looked a little more plain than I expected him to look in that set. The other ones have a little more robustness with the way they could do the designs. Like I said, I mean, they're beautiful, but at the same time, statues always cost a lot more than the stuff that I like, so I usually steer clear, but I love that they're out there. And I mean, if you are a statue person and you like Masters, this is definitely a great way to go.
Yeah,
I do not see anything on the sizing though.
Yeah, I was just looking at. I'm trying to find. I know they've got. I think the Stratos was up for pre-order already. But yeah, they're very much doing the Filmation aesthetic, but trying to make them more realistic. They are 1/10 scale, so I've always been bad at my toy scales. And they retail for around $130. So.
Yeah, like I remember seeing the Beast Man a while back. Like the sculptor who worked on that actually had that posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. But then when I saw how Filmation-esque it was going, because like that Beast Man doesn't look Filmation to me. That Beast Man looks like that's like they're doing their own line of this. And then when I saw, but Skeletor is now going to be in the Bone Throne like in Snake Mountain, and He-Man's going to have the more Prince Valiant haircut, and I was like, I'm a little confused here. Like, it just feels like Beast Man and Ram Man, and I'd say Stratus does look Filmation, but he looks a little more different. Like, he has a little more detail.
But if you look at Beastman, like, he's got the shoulder pauldrons with the one spike. He's got the boots. He's got the flat bracers. So it's definitely Filmation it's Filmation realistic is how I like they're trying yes, his fur's got more intricate detail on it, but it's still the Filmation outfit, you know. Same with Stratos. That is totally the Filmation Stratos, but like with texture.
Yeah, because actually, now that I'm looking a little more, like the face of Beastman and everything on there to me is like that would never have been on Filmation. He looks more ferocious than ever. But then when you look at everything else, it looks like you said, it looks like it came right out of the cartoon. So it's like it's this weird hodgepodge for me with this the sculpting.
Yep.
Not that I'm saying it's bad. It's just it's definitely for me it's a little confusing because if you're gonna go real and you're going to do this hyper detailed, then just go with it.
Right.
Filmation to me it never works with hyper detailed because it always feels like you're missing something because of how those designs needed to be for animation purposes.
Yeah, it's definitely not going the route of pop culture shock. With their statue they did about 5 years ago or so, those were like right out of the Filmation tune. But it's like they took those but tried to make them real world-esque. Got a nice detail on Ram Man that I didn't notice till now, where his tunic, it's actually like he ripped the sleeves off his tunic. If you look right where his shoulder comes out, it is. It's like he's got the little jagged, they're cut off sleeves.
That's cool.
I want to see that in a Masters movie. I want Ram Man to like put a tunic on and be like, "Oh, this isn't very comfy." All right, I'm good now.
That's what I appreciate about these things. Like, you have whoever the companies are. They're bringing something to the table that it's like, well, have you thought of it this way before? And then all of a sudden it's adding to the way that you're thinking of that character working. And I see it right now. Both of his arms are, they're just ripping through that fabric. That's awesome.
All right. That being said, cool. Around $100 a piece, and they've shown like 8 of them. Oof.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, Sorceress is tempting. Ram Man looks pretty cool. I don't know if I'll pick any of these up, but if I do, it'd definitely be one of those, like, a statue here or there. Now, jumping to the higher-end statues, Tweeterhead, bringing the fire. So... first off, we see the Trap Jaw, which they did show all the way back in PowerCon of last year, but that was just the prototype. It was all gray, so now he's painted up, done up. Probably still pending licensor approval, but lots of detail. I like what they've done with the helmet and integrating, the spikes and everything else. I love the idea of the ratchet straps. Whoever came up with that was genius to, because he's always had that, the belt or whatever across his chest, but now it's like literally like he lost his arm. That attachment is like a prosthetic, and he actually uses those ratchet straps to like put it on. That's a pretty neat idea. And they look evil at the same time.
Yeah, I'd say out of anything new when it comes to Trap Jaw, out of the major ones that they've teased recently, that's probably the one that I wish it wasn't just a statue.
Yeah.
I wish it was a figure that you could articulate and put into other poses. And the thing that kills me is when you look at some of the look of him, some of the actual design of him. I mean, I know the Horsemen did Krona in Mythic Legions as their Trapjaw tribute, but I think these guys actually looked at Mythic Legions and said, why don't we really go there? Because like the feet and the boots are very Mythic Legions-esque. The pauldrons are very Mythic Legions-esque. I'm just looking at it going like, yeah, this is basically like if Mythic Legions and Tweeterhead had a weekend in Vegas, this is who would show up 9 months later. Like this is...
Well,
it works, though.
Talking to David Igo last year at PowerCon, I told him, I said, Tweeterhead's designs are like what I hope to see out of a live-action movie for Masters of the Universe. And he was actually pretty surprised. He said, that's one of the edicts that we work under, is when redesigning these characters for the statues, it's what would we want to see in a live-action movie, in a real-world scenario. Like, how can we take this goofy toy and make it into a real-world, nightmare villain
That's
concept.
Awesome.
So,
I love it. I love that they do that. And, I mean, I like that better than, who was it, Sideshow? years ago. They did the He-Man and the Skeletor, and then they did Evelyn and She-Ra.
Yep.
And I never like the He-Man for that one. I liked aspects. Like I didn't mind like
same
the
with the
Power
She-Ra.
Sword design. Yeah, like I like aspects of all of those, but none of them clicked the way that these from Tweeterhead.
Yep.
Tweeterhead feels like it's more in the bloodline of it, whereas the Sideshow ones felt like it was just let's reimagine it.
Right.
And like it's almost the whole let's make it cool. It's like, well, it never wasn't cool. It's just you're scared of it being what it was. I felt at times, whereas this, it's like, no, let's dig into this.
Right, lean into it and figure out how does this work in a real world instead of going like, well, up next we have Merman. Like instead of going, oh, he's got fish scale armor, that's stupid, let's do something else. They go, no, if he lived under the sea, what would his fish scale armor look like? And, I like what they've done where you really can't tell like how much of that is him and how much it is growing on him, like the amoebas and everything else under the sea, like they,
coral armor.
But maybe it's not even like armor he puts on, maybe the coral literally grows on him. You know what I mean? And the way they got him stepping out of that pool there and everything.
It's very 2000X.
Yep.
It's like him finding the from the Sea of Rakash or whatever at the beginning of that when Skeletor needed the jewel, and that's the like if you would have shown me Merman like this as a kid, I don't think I would have ever looked at Beastman twice. I would have just been like, Merman is just I could stare at that all day and take in all the scales, all the detail, and it's like. Even though I've looked at it, I still want to keep going back to it because of the amount of intricacy. And I mean, he looks nightmarish compared to. Again, this is why Filmation drove me crazy. I know you love Filmation, but like this Merman should have been the stuff of nightmares for me as a kid,
right?
And that is like all of the Evil Warriors should have been nightmarish, and they're doing this with this line. And it's statues, and that's like I said. That's the only problem I have. Is I really wish it was an articulated figure, but they're like amazing representations of what we as fans would be like. Yes, this is what I've always thought it would be.
Right.
If they did live action, or if it was, or whatever. It's like take it seriously.
Absolutely. And then of course they showed off the Hordak that's already released, along with his. Minion statue, which is up for pre-order again now. They did a second run of the Minion.
I really like that Hordak too.
Yeah, he's great. They showed off Skeletor unpainted. Yeah, I do like that Hordak too. Same thing, just a great update. I love that Minion. Of course, they showed off their Tila that people are getting now.
Yeah, that Teal, I think that was probably the first Tweeterhead thing where I was like, whoa. Like, I liked the stuff to that point, but it didn't grab me. But Teal was like, holy crap. Like, this works. And they haven't let up.
Nope.
And I really appreciate, like, when you look at the Skeletor one, I mean, it's updated. I don't mind the updating stuff that they did to it. But I also love that when you look at these statues, you have no ifs, ands, or buts in your head of what you're looking at. The poses that they give them really work well. I mean, the only other way that I could think of you could do something with Merman other than him coming out of water like that, or the ooze or the slime, is literally have him in water. And it's like, how the hell are you going to do that? Right. So you might as well, at least he's coming out of something that looks like it's like it looks inhuman. You shouldn't be swimming in that shit, but he's swimming in it. So yeah,
absolutely. And then of course they did show off their He-Man on Battle Cat statue, all painted up. And now this is from their Classics line, which is going to be very much vintage inspired. But they look glorious. They did reveal the price tag on that. as $999. Oh, you could go broke.
If I would have gotten that $1 billion Mega Millions the other week,
I'd be getting all this stuff.
This would be on my wish list, and I would not even, like no second thought. I'm just, I want that. That's all there is. It'd be like Tony Stark. I have to have it and just walk away.
No, it looks great. It's a great classic He-Man on Battle Cat, traditional armor, for both of them, power sword, shield. I mean, it's a great look. I cannot justify $1,000. So.
Neither could I. not without Powerball or Mega Millions backing me on that one. So, but no, that gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I'm excited to see the tweeter head He-Man because they haven't shown that off yet. Skeletor is just being shown off, so I'm excited to see what they go there. Are they going to make it look like classic, or what ways are they going to update it to make it look, like you said, live action esque?
I'm betting they're going to lean into a battle armor esque type thing. But
I'd be cool with that. I would be cool with that. Like if we couldn't get the chest harness in a live action and they went battle armor, it would never bother me. Because battle armor, it was up there for me sometimes it was hard for me to decide as a kid, which way do I want to go when I play with them today? Do I want the classic version? Do I want the battle armor version? So
well, and I know we've noticed since we started doing this show, it never hit us how much they really use battle armor. I mean, a lot, especially the golden books, the puzzles, a lot of that kind of the height of He-Man stuff was He-Man in the battle armor. Surprisingly enough,
well, when we did the commercials, our last episode. It blew my mind. Like after the first year, everything was battle armor He-Man from the way I remember. I'm like, no wonder I liked this as much as I did, because it was out there way more. And it's just Filmation just kept to the chest harness, and that was it. Otherwise, we probably would have think battle armor He-Man's the best version if they might have updated it on the show eventually or something. Who knows?
Definitely the best variant. So
yeah.
And then, of course, they showed off their life-size Skeletor bust that is shipping now as well. Absolutely insane. Nuts. If I recall correctly, this is the one that has the light-up eyes, cloth hood, just insane. Absolutely insane.
This is the thing that if I ever wanted to make my kids hate me, I would just have it I would wake them up in the middle of the night and have that next to their bed with light coming from underneath, and just hear them screaming, because it's like, okay, you're grounded. You just made me mad. I'm gonna make you have to deal with Skeletor tonight.
Again, if I was rich, I would get all their life-size busts, because they'll come out with at least a He-Man too and have them up on pedestals, William Shakespeare in a library style. And then
you open it up and you go to Grayskull through the portal. Yep.
not Masters, but it looks like they are getting some other properties now, and they did show off a Superman and Crypto. I can't see if it's. I assume they're going to be separate. They might be a 2-pack.
Superman looks pretty decent.
Not a fan of Crypto?
I didn't see the photo of Crypto because honestly, I was so homed in on. Oh, that's cool. No, they make him look like he's not like a cartoony dog. They make him look legit. Here's a super dog going with Superman. Yeah. I like that.
That's more what I recall from growing up with Crypto in the comics. But granted, I've never been a big Superman nor Crypto guy. But that's how I remember Crypto: a dog with a cape and a collar.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it facially, there's maybe something off about Superman. I think it's probably the eyebrows and the eyes aren't working for me. But beyond that, I actually dig, anytime you have any kind of like a sculpture and you get to see at least that there's little bunches in the fabric, instead of it just being, oh, it's a painted on uniform, I appreciate that. And this is definitely a case in point of this is how you do it, because I absolutely love that you could see all the wrinkles in the suit, but you could still see the definition underneath there. That's pretty sweet.
I even just like the fact that they did. I mean, it's so easy to put Superman in the classic fists on waist, standing proud, or the up and away, but they kind of picked a more, maybe coming in for a landing, or even just, hovering there in the air, like, what is this threat? You know what I mean? Like, they're just something about picking that kind of a pose. It's like, that's how you get me, is like, give me a pose on these things that I don't see every time.
Exactly. And that one, it has this vibe, like he just floated up to Lex Luthor's office and he's there outside the window. It's like, what have you done this time, Luthor, or whatever? It's got that vibe. And then the dog's there like, stop it, I'll take you for a walk in a second. I just got to deal with him,
Right. No, I like it. Have you seen the new, what is that, Legion of Super Pets or League of Super Pets?
I have not, but my kids would like to go see it, so I
want to see it. It looks,
see a movie.
It looks fun.
Well, my daughter gets a kick at, what is it, the hamster? The hamster's the thing that ends up knocking Superman, the hamster or whatever that rings the doorbell. He's like, oh, aren't you a cute little thing? And then like the hamster knocks him out in the preview or something, and then that's the evil that they have to go up against, is this tiny little hamster through the whole thing, and that just makes me laugh. I'm very simple like that, but
it looks just fun. Like, give me a turtle with the powers of Flash. Hell yeah. Like, let's go.
There you go. The irony is it's not lost on us, people.
No.
We enjoy it.
Something can just be fun.
Yeah.
All right. So that is all Tweeterhead trying to drain your wallet. Up next, let's see what Mondo showed off.
Here we go.
I don't think there was too much new, honestly, off the top of my head. Of course, they had the Skeletor from not CGI, from Revelation. Hordak, he came out recently. They did show off the She-Ra, now looking like a production sample here. Still super bummed that I missed out on her. Damn you, Mondo.
No, like I again, not being a big She-Ra person, even I was really tempted. Like, can I swing that one too after already getting He-Man 2 weeks before or whatever? Right. And
man,
it's
just been a month
eventually maybe, but for me, the main thing of everything was this one. So
the Battle Cat.
The Battle Cat is phenomenal. We've talked about Mondo plenty of times in the past where the initial He-Man and Skeletor releases didn't wow me. Right. I wasn't impressed by their take on it. It's the same thing. Like, Tweeterhead is in the vein of what I want it to be. Mondo did it almost like, let's combine the figure and the movie and see what we come up with. Yep. And it was okay, but I didn't like the face sculpt, the head, the hair, and all that just wasn't working for me. Yep. Then that deluxe He-Man hits, and that thing looks exactly like I've been waiting for them to do. And I'm like, take my money. Yep. I had to do it. I kept...
Oh, I was going to say, which is the He-Man they have shown here on top of Battle Cat. In the battle armor variant.
In the battle armor. And I said to myself, if they do that and it looks the way I hope it looks, I have to do it because it's special. There's something about getting the special things for me now versus going to Walmart and getting an Origins figure or whatever, because it's like, we already talked about that. We know I'm not the biggest Origins guy, but if you get me something that is a representation of the figure or the character in a way that really makes me just in awe of what they did, that is what it is. And I think I'm going to give credit where credit's due. I know Emiliano Santalucia. We had him previously on the show during the All-Stars. He was involved in this one, and I have a feeling he really pushed for this looking the way it looked, and man, did it work. And then the next thing, when we were talking about it, you're like, well, I told you that they're going to have Battle Cat. And I'm like, I obviously was not even paying attention to that because the line was not what I wanted from the thing until then. And now all of a sudden I'm like, I got to have Battle Cat. I told my wife today, I'm like, I really got to get the Battle Cat. And she's like, I know. It wasn't a no, it was I know. And I'm like, oh.
Yep.
And then they're talking Deluxe Skeletor, which will be similar to what they did with the He-Man, and that just has me going, oh my god, like these are now the grails that I want to have on my shelf compared to Masterverse or Origins, which obviously they're going to be like ridiculously expensive compared to any of those figures, but I want something that really speaks to me as this is what this character meant to you for all these years.
Yep, and it is saying Battle Cat will be available fall of 2022.
And that scares me to my bones because we don't know the price point.
It's still TBD.
Yeah, and I did a search for it, and they had the information from when you were at PowerCon.
Yep.
And ironically, I actually watched the Mondo panel at PowerCon the year you were there, and I didn't realize you were the first person that got to do the Q&A with
That was me!
Like, it's Matt! Look at that! That's so cool!
And I got
I wanted to say that real quick. You did get a Mondo.
They gave me a Tiki. The Skeletor Tiki mug is what they gave me. That's
still cool.
Yep.
That is so cool. But they were saying at that panel, I think somebody did specifically ask, and they said they thought it would be between $350 to $400.
Yep.
And then I've also heard since SDCC, it could even be $500. Who knows? And that just is making me like, I need to have this thing. Like, I legitimately need to have that one. And I'm scared to death that it's going to be $500 because I don't know how I'm pulling that out of my butt right now.
Yep.
But
Klarna, Sizzle, whatever all those are. Real quick here, I did just notice that, and this was probably there, but it was probably put out there, but I wasn't paying attention because I was pissed because I couldn't get her. But She-Ra does have a wire cape, so you can do a little bit of a pose and to it. Battle Cat looks so awesome, comes with so much stuff. And I'm curious because it says available fall 2022. So does that mean this is going to be an in-stock? Like they used to do with like the scare. Well, I think all their stuff up until recently used to be like, you know, in-stock limited editions, ships now. Or does it just mean like the pre-order is going to come up in fall 2022?
I know there have been a lot of people who were complaining about the initial way they used to do it, and I know there's a lot that were saying they loved that they gave the 24 to 48 hours to let you at least put in a pre-order, and then it's a made-to-order thing that you get it, you put the money in, you're getting it, just like if you do a Horseman pre-order or whatever. I appreciate that myself, and especially if you use one of those apps like Zip, or they have their own version of that on their website that they can connect you to. So if you can do 4 payments every 2 weeks, doing a payment towards it, it softens the blow somewhat. But still, like I want to know more details on that one in particular. They had Trap Jaw. That was the other one.
Yep, Trap Jaw.
They did. And that one, I thought he was good. Like I definitely was like, wow, that's pretty sweet. But compared to the Tweeterhead one,
I just about to say, I think Tweeterhead ruined it for me.
Tweeterhead completely. I gotta say that they cock blocked Mondo for me on that one, because I was like, Tweeterhead, you got my attention. And then when I saw what Mondo did, I'm like, that's good. Like, I'm not saying it's a horrible design at all. But when you see what Tweeterhead did, it's so much more 2000X inspired at points that's always where I want to go with Trapjaw. So thankfully, Battle Cat, and then maybe Deluxe Skeletor, and then they were talking about Panther and maybe Panther being flocked eventually, since they're doing this Battle Cat anyway.
And they showed
we'll see what happens there.
The artwork at PowerCon last year.
Yeah,
the last
right.
PowerCon. So
yeah, it's out there.
They definitely
because I found it again. Yeah, and I gotta say, if I ended up with He-Man, Battle Cat, Skeletor, Panther, I think I'd be thrilled, and that would probably be, if I didn't get She-Ra, it wouldn't ruin my life. The only way they could screw me over, I know they're doing Beastman, and I always like Beastman, so that makes me go, I want to at least see what they do there. And then Fisto and Ram Man would be two where I'm like, oh god, like if they pull off a really cool Fisto or a Ram Man, I might be in trouble there. And Teela, we don't even know what Teela looks like. They have a green goddess that they've hinted, but not Teela herself yet.
Oh, scary rabbit hole to fall down. Lots of money. All right, next up, we've got a look at the 40th anniversary box set that came out at SDCC, and that's got the 40th anniversary He-Man and Skeletor with, I believe they are die-cast metal weapons. In a nice 2-pack with some great artwork.
Yeah, and that was the one that a lot of people were excited because they had it listed on their website for $30 or $35.
Oh yeah, I was all in. I was like, yep,
yeah,
getting this.
7 of those. And no, not so much. But no, like that one's probably the best Skeletor I've seen out of a lot of the stuff they do for any version of the toys right now from Mattel. And I like that it even had the articulated jaw, so you can have him with his mouth open, closed, however you want to do it. And it is cool that there is die-cast weapons finally that you can put in your master's hands like that. That's really... That was a nice touch for the 40th. And
without costing an arm and a leg, because, was it Factory Entertainment? They did some, but they were like $40, $60 a piece, for a single weapon,
Yeah.
It's like,
well, on the show, I remember us like, well, how much would it be? And then we were even thinking it'd be like $125 or whatever. So the fact that, still $80, and that's what you get out of it. That's still a steal nowadays.
Yep, and it comes with 2 reprinted mini comics, King of Castle Grayskull and He-Man and the Power Sword, which do have some new artwork in them as well by Axel. So it's a nice little set. I did not even attempt to get it. That's a nice little set. Oh, and it comes with the Warrior Ring too. Actual metal Warrior Ring. So, yeah, definitely not a bad deal. There's something else. Oh, He-Man, his boots and his loincloth are flocked. That was the other thing. And honestly, for me, like, that was actually more of a turnoff than anything else. I'm like, I don't need that. I'd rather get the retail release. I get the flocking thing and everything, but it's like, for me, flocking is Panther and Mossbane. Anything else you try and do with that, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, just get Panther, and honestly, even Panther a lot of times, like, I prefer the Classics Panther because that sculpt really comes out. So to me, flocking is a thing that's like, yes, it's a part of Masters, but it's not a make or break for me.
Absolutely. And for me, just for how I like things, I've mentioned it earlier, the details.
Right.
And when you flock something, you lose the details. So I personally, it's like it was fun when I was a kid, and I'm touching it. It's a tactile thing. When I'm having it on my shelf, it does look like it's out of focus because the flocking just makes it look a lot more obviously fuzzier. And it's a great thing to have as a kid, but even like Mossman now for me as an adult, yes, it's great that he's flocked as a classics figure, but I still would rather just have the details done on the buck and everything and just represent it, I guess. But no, that was a nice, again, like the Masterverse stuff, it's I love that it's out there, and I love that people are loving it because some people are like, this is replacing what classics, I couldn't get classics, therefore I'm getting these, and it's filling that hole in the collection or whatever. And this is a really cool way to do it, but there is that part of me that's still like, I don't know what I would have wanted, but I always felt like it's too starkly different from what we had to start the line, that I'm like, when you have the original vintage figures and then you see how it got all the way to where it is now, and I'm like, I don't know, it still kind of feels a little like Mattel's at least giving us a 40th, but it's like it feels like it's on their terms, not on fans, what we would be hoping, I guess. I'm probably articulating that pretty stupidly right now, but it feels like it's just, this is what it is from now on, and it's like, this is ours and this is it. And it feels like there is a certain element of what the heart and soul of it was that is not quite there for me as much as it used to be, I guess. And it feels a little more corporate now. But again, I like that it's out there for the people who are enjoying the hell out of this and are thrilled to see He-Man back again on shelves.
Absolutely. Next up, we do have the Masterverse Hero, which is an online retailer exclusive. He did cause a little bit of a stir because Entertainment Earth they played it up like he was exclusive to them and got a lot of orders, and then it turns out, no, he's absolutely not exclusive to them. He's also available on Big Bad Toy Store, and I heard rumors he'll be in stores as well, so shame on you, Entertainment Earth, for trying to pull a fast one. He turned out a little skinny for me, honestly. There's something about him I can't quite put my finger on, but he looks a little young, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
this is one where I definitely think Classics nailed it better.
Yeah, and like when you look at him in Revelation, he's still a bulky looking dude.
Right.
And when you see him here, he almost has this, like, it's Prince Adam before he's He-Man kind of a vibe.
Yeah, he's got like this youthful
figure. Yes, and it's I don't know, like, that was one figure that whenever they have shown him off, I mean, yeah, it's great that we have Hero, and I know that's the whole, the missing link kind of a thing from our childhood, but there is this part of me going like, I don't need him as much as I would want the core characters, in that way, because he's still kind of that what could have been, the what if kind of category of the line. But this one didn't wow me at all. I'm like, he looks very, like you said, he's skinny and he looks young, and it doesn't equate to the way that I've always had him in my head. I always figured he was probably a 35-year-old guy, and had some experience under him. So.
But he's out there now for pre-order, and if you want him, go get him. This was fun. NECA is doing sculpted latex masks, so actually not bad. $50, adult, one size fits all, and they've got Beastman and Skeletor up for pre-order right now at costumes.com. So, very much the vintage toy made into a mask. And I know they showed off a number of other ones, such as Webstore and Hordak, Merman, Stinkor. So definitely going to be a lot of good masks coming up.
This is another case in point of like the people who had what was it, the Ben Cooper costumes from the 70s and 80s and all that. It's like this is the fans bringing it back. It's saying this is what we wanted to wear to trick or treat when we were kids, not those plastic right over our face masks and all that. We wanted to be the toys come to life, and this is a great example.
Absolutely. No, they're great. I did not grab either of these, but that's because I saw a couple of other ones at the booth that interest me a bit more. So I'm holding out, but I will definitely be picking up at least one or two out of this line.
These would just be fun to have on a shelf, just one after the other, depending how many they make eventually. Because they teased, there were two other ones that they teased, but they didn't have them out there as pre-orders, if I remember right.
There's a few, the Webstore, Stinkor, Merman,
Hordak.
Yeah. I think that was it. They showed them, but they're not up for pre-order yet.
Yeah. That would just be cool to have those just in a whole line and scare the hell out of your kids. Like it's
It always comes back to scaring your kids, man. I don't know about that.
I'll tell you what, they can try me some days. It's kind of fun to at least get them back every now and then. Because no, I do not abuse my kids for anybody listening out there, but it is fun to mess with them time to time because I'm that dad.
All right, last up from Toy Ark, we've got their closer look at the Mattel display. So this has a bunch of stuff in it. Masterverse, we got to see a Stratos and a Shadow Weaver. We got
Nanny Faces.
We got to see the Hevelin. Along with Sorceress Lyn, New Adventures He-Man, Pighead, the Manny Faces. Lots of stuff coming out. Who out of the Masterverse, Sean? What wowed you?
I was actually wowed at how like by the book they went with Manny Faces.
That was interesting.
He looks now when you see the faces.
Yep, he comes with some
that he can change it to. They did like a Zartan thing. He's got like a suitcase.
Yep.
Of masks now, which is kind of fun. So you have like, I don't want to say it's Keldor, but it looks like Keldor, but the lighting could be off. And then there's like obviously the beast face, and
I think that's actually one of, and I wish I had my Power in the Honor Foundation book with me. I think that Keldor looking face is actually one of the faces he had in the original concept drawing. That nice. And that robotic like pink face underneath it. I think both of those are from the concept drawings.
Yeah.
What I haven't seen is the actual robot face.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like it's kind of odd that they didn't go there, but yeah, I liked it. I like that he's on his way because he's always a favorite of mine, and I did like the Sorceress.
The Revelation
Evil
Sorceress. Sorceress Evil.
Yeah, the Revelation. Yeah. Didn't they show that, or am I thinking it? Just
they did. I think she's missing from this photo gallery.
She is missing,
but they did show her off. There's just something about her, and I don't have a picture up of her, but something's just not hitting me the way it should. I love that design, the Sorceress Lyn. But something in the toy, like it's not coming through in 3D form for me. Maybe I'll feel different in hand, but so far the pictures I've seen, they haven't wowed me like I expected them to.
there's still things about the way they set up the articulation for these figures that it's making me just go like, I really wish they could have done more classics with how like the legs were put in. That thigh swivel in classics is, you can barely tell it's there. I absolutely love that about it. I don't like it when they just do that straight cut cross, like on Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified, all that stuff. And the fact that they went there bugs me. So like, there's parts of her costume where the lines go down on the legs. If you move that thigh at all, it drives me nuts as a visual person. But
that's what I'm saying. I think that's part of it,
agree,
because she's very much with like the see-through fabric and everything, but on a toy that's just paint, and so it's not. But the sorceress, the actual Tilana from Revelation, she looks awesome. I like that design from her. New Adventures He-Man.
Yeah,
that one took me by surprise how much I'm enjoying it, and I'll probably be picking him up. There's just there's just something about him, like.
I'm surprised by that.
I've never hated New Adventures. I think there's a lot of good episodes of New Adventures out there. Definitely don't sit down and watch the whole series, but there are a lot of good episodes. But I just think that's a really good representation of him. And he's going to be a Target exclusive.
Oh, okay. So. No, he's one that the body and all that stuff work. He's a pretty sparse figure to begin with. Even with classics, they didn't really make it too detailed, and he had what was necessary to make him that figure. But that face sculpt on him has to be one of the most like, what were they doing? For me, like when I saw that one, I'm like, does not look anything like anything. He just looks. It almost makes me feel like they carved a piece of wood to try to have it as a placeholder for that, and that's what they went with. And it just like, at least with classics, that one, like when you saw that one, it's like, holy crap, that looks great, and they had his own distinct face. But this one, that face sculpt is probably one of the biggest like misses for me out of what I've seen them do to this point. But otherwise, like, I looked at him just now and I'm like, if I had that figure and if I didn't want to say that was He-Man, he'd be a great, like, just a sci-fi warrior that was He-Man in my version if I did my own canon. So in that way I could appreciate it, but it's still that whole not my He-Man kind of thing when I look at him, no matter which version it is.
Oh, come on, man.
I've always been that
translucent green shield and sword.
That's a little too Star Wars for my He-Man, I guess.
Moving on to Origins. They had a massive setup. Obviously, the highlight of the show for a lot of people was the Eternia playset. We'll get to that in a minute. But they showed off a bunch of characters here. Throughout the battle scene, you can spy a Ratlore, a Snake Armor He-Man, lots of Snake Men all around, Tongue Lasher. I know they did end up showing King Hiss later on. Obviously, this 2023 is going to be the year of the Snake Men. Sean, how do we feel about that?
I don't give a shit. Snake Man. I mean, I like that it feels a little more like they're willing to do what I always thought it was, which was let's have a bunch of snake minions and you can army build them or something. Yeah, that was more my speed with them versus having the various different like Ratlore, Tongue Lasher, and then after that I didn't give a crap about them beyond King Hiss, but I do like elements of that. If you would have told me when Origin started we were going to get a Snake Armor He-Man, I would have been like, you're crazy. And then all of a sudden he's front and center right there in Eternia. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is that's nuts.
King Grayskull, I forgot about him. They showed off an Origins version of him based on the Revelation, the African American Grayskull.
Yeah.
I'm trying to scan through.
Mecha Neck and the Road Ripper too. That was a big deal for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. Thunder Punch He-Man's down there with a punch effect and his silver shield. Did they come out with the regular Triclops yet? I can't remember now. I know they came out with the Metallic Creations.
I don't remember. I don't think they have.
I don't think the regular... They show the regular colored version there. We all knew he was on the way as soon as they announced the exclusive colored one, but I don't think he's come out yet. But yeah, lots of fun little things there, and yeah, they're going all in on the Snake Men again. They even showed that in 2023, like all the packaging's gonna be the Snake Men packaging, which is an interesting choice. I'm getting 2000X vibes again.
I was actually going to say,
well, yeah,
because the year it ends. That
at first, like obviously, like King Hiss, Tongue Lasher, like Snake Armor, He-Man, like yes, they should absolutely all come in the Snake Men packaging. But then they showed, I think it was Digitino, maybe it was one of the Sunman characters. They showed him in the Snake Men packaging too. So it's like, so basically all the waves with Snake Men, it seems like they're not going to split it up like they did back in the day. Like if it's a snake, if it's in the same wave as a Snake Man, it's going to come with Snake Men packaging, which I think is a big. I think it's a mistake, honestly.
I mean, if they were worried about 2000X vibes for how long,
right?
Even with classics, and not letting the Horsemen and stuff go there because they kept thinking that's why He-Man disappeared for so long. And it's like, you didn't learn your lesson from the last time you did that? Okay. All right. I will say, though, like, me liking Snake Armor He-Man, like, there is a pretty nice close-up that you can get of him standing in the mouth bridge, whatever you want to call it for Eternius. It's not like Grayskull. But looking at that figure, man, they went for it. I'm actually very amazed at the detail that they put into this, because Origins for me has not been that line, and here we are where it's like everything on him is new. It's crazy.
No, he looks great. So we got Eternia Place at the Three Towers. Now, obviously, this was rumored for a while. Did you think we'd actually get to see it?
I mean, Origins is the line that has jumped all over the place. And that's something we could never, ever say, this is definitely what they're doing next, because there'd always be something out of left field because they're just grabbing from whatever. So in certain ways, I was like, it was like, oh, I bet they'll do that sooner than later to throw everybody off. But it was still like, I figured it'd still be more later than sooner. And now all of a sudden we see it, and it broke a lot of the internet for Motu fans.
I thought we'd at least get Snake Mountain first.
That's, again, the progression. It's like you get Grayskull, and then you get your Snake Mountain. And depending, because they could have done something with Snake Mountain to make it like, okay, let's make it more Filmation-esque, kind of like, or do like a combination like Super 7 did and Classics in that line, where you're at least combining the two options and turning it into something. And instead, we just go right for the jugular with an Eternia playset. Yeah. And then, that's going to be crowdfunded, if I heard right.
That's what they're saying, yep. Rumors,
so
$500.
That's interesting as well. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I've never been that guy where I have to have every single thing. I'm not a completist. I'm not somebody that I need every little thing, but if it mattered to me, and it doesn't matter to me. Eternia was so far at the end of the original line that my interest in that never was there as a kid, so it never translated into my adulthood. But if it mattered to me that I never got that, it would definitely be high on my list of priorities when it finally is put out there.
It's a playset I didn't even know it existed till I got on the internet. So it holds nothing for me. But yeah, if I was a guy trying to chase down the windshield and the tram and the tracks and, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then to get like everything in for $500 in a crowdfunded swoop, like, absolutely no brainer. You know, honestly, it's still it's an impressive playset. I mean, I don't know where the hell I put it, but it is impressive, and this is honestly probably your last chance. Not even trying to be doomsday dramatic, whatever, but like, this is probably your last chance to get an Eternia. Like,
yeah,
I don't see them going to this well again.
I agreed, and I mean, again, you know, I didn't see this. I was thinking it would be something that they could do because of the scale for Origins, and have it be, you know, it's like you're getting. Like I said, they're bringing in, okay, now you can get a Wondar, and I know Wondar was another fiasco and stuff, but still, you can get a Wondar figure, so you don't have to pay $500 to get the vintage version and all that stuff.
Yep.
So it's like the fact that they're going there and giving these options that they're either urban legends or things that you've only heard of, and it was, you know, something you could never get for a decent price. I got to give them props for the fact that they're even going here. And that to me is like you're listening to something that the fans want.
Yeah.
And that, like I said, I'm not one of those fans, but the fans that are out there that never got that version and it's always driven them crazy. Yeah. That's a great way to do it.
And it's kind of funny how quickly Origin shifted from being like, we're just going to redo the vintage figures with, you know, 3 more points of articulation to, like, we're going to give you everything and all the variants, even if they don't make sense together. You know, we're gonna give them to you. Which brings us to our last part on here, and that is the He-Man 4-pack of Filmation, New Adventures, 2000X, and CGI, all done in Origins style. Honestly, this blew my socks off, Sean. This was the highlight for me. Because that, like, Snake Armor He-Man, sure. Battle Armor Thunder Punch, yes. Like, but I never thought they'd do the New Adventures. I never thought they'd do CGI in Origin style. And then for them all to have their proper card backs and die-cast weapons, you know, to me that just like, all right, like, let's do this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I said that a few times. I kind of like that that set that they put out years ago for Ninja Turtles, where it was Leonardo from the beginning all the way up through that time to celebrate, what was it, their 30th anniversary or whatever,
like
maybe,
that,
or something like that. So 20th or 25th or something. But I was saying, you know, that's something that it's been 40 years. They should do something to honor the different versions. And when they finally went, okay, we're gonna go here, and this is now Origins figures that you never thought you'd get because the Filmation aspect and all that stuff. I mean, yes, they've gone there a couple times, but not to this level and all that. And it's like I appreciate that they went there.
Yeah,
so.
And they even redid the Power Sword. It's not just the Origins Power Sword. It is a new sculpt. And then you got that fancy packaging that looks like a TV with all the full versions with their Skeletor, a couple Battle Cats, a Panther, like, it's impressive. It really is. This is the kind of thing I'm like, all right, I can get behind this for the 40th. And then it looks like they all come with kind of like a VHS cover with like some like a TV guide on the back. Cringer's Cartoon Corner at 7 a.m. Adam and the Battle Cats at 7:30 a.m. Rock On Out music at 9:30. Dragon Walker Z.
Nice.
Yeah, there's some fun. It's Always Sunny in Castle Grayskull.
Beast Kingdom with Beast Man. MOTWU Superstars Sports Entertainment.
Eternity
Game Masters Cosmic Games.
Oh, it's fun stuff. Just fun little
Tech
things.
Time. I like this. Tech Time.
Yeah.
Man at Arms and Roboto teach us at-home solutions for everyday problems.
But yeah, what a great
Adam
set.
and the Battle Cats.
I have not seen a price point on this, but this one I'm getting. I've got to. This is, like I said, those card backs alone are, and these guys, I would keep them on card. I would not open these ones up. These are, I would keep them on. Like, they just, the presentation looks amazing.
Sure, yeah. And the other thing that was quite a surprise is for anybody out there who is not liking the design or the look of CGI He-Man for Netflix.
Yeah.
When you look at him as that figure, it works. It really does. It's just like, okay, the exaggerating of the proportions and stuff to the Pixar aspect doesn't work. But when you see the spirit of that, just like the spirit of Masters in that show, the spirit of the design in that figure shows it really does work within the essence of He-Man all these years too.
For sure.
So I really thought that was really cool to see, because we haven't seen him done any other way than the overly proportioned big version. So,
and there were some CGI toys revealed. I think we're gonna hold those until we talk about part 3 of the show, because I have a feeling they're gonna go hand in hand. So,
yeah, something tells me. Yep.
Something tells me. And we do actually have an email from Tony Moore. I will save it. I'll save it till we get to CGI, but I just did want to throw that out there. Tony, I did get your email. We will get to it after we watch season 3 of CGI, or part 3, season 3, part 3, whatever it is. Netflix needs to figure out what they're doing, what they're labeling. That's all I got. I think that hit at least the major points. There might have been there was something weird that came out. Fall Guys or something like that. Oh. Which I don't even know what a Fall Guy is, so.
Well, I remember the show, The Fall Guy, when I was a kid, but this has nothing to do with that.
No, that's not that. That was a good show, though. The light-hearted Battle Royale game Fall Guys will be launching a new crossover in the near future. Toy maker Mattel, a set of Masters of the Universe figures as Fall Guys beans will be coming out soon, along with versions to play as in-game. So yeah, I have not heard of Fall Guys, but apparently it's a game. Neither. So you're going to be able to play as Masters characters in the game, and they will be releasing toys based on it. They're little bean-like characters. They'll be sold in a 4-pack of He-Man, Tila, Skeletor, and Battle Cat.
That just makes me go to the well of, how do we not have a video game yet for this? Now that they're going where they're going, and the thing is, considering how the video games are set up where you get the downloadable content nowadays, how is it that we can't get a game where it encompasses all of the iterations and you can play it however you want to and have it as a downloadable feature, where here you could do a downloadable feature that you could do new adventures if you feel like it. Here's the CGI Netflix version. Here's 2000X. Here's vintage and all that. And there is that part of me that's like, they still are missing the boat on that, no matter what they're throwing at us with the toys. Yep. Because my kids, if you let them play Tila and He-Man on an Xbox right now, you can imagine hours and hours getting eaten up by them playing those characters. They absolutely love it. And I would sit there too. I'd play Battle Cat. I'd be fine with that.
No, they had they've had the Fall Guys thing. They did throw out on Roblox. They had a CGI-inspired He-Man game on there. But yeah, we need our platformer. We need our downloadable skins. Like, Mattel, it's easy money. I mean, many? And then, so you release the game, play as classic He-Man. Then you throw $2 for 2000X armor. Then you throw $2 for Snake armor. Then you throw Mattel. It's just printing money. Not that not that I necessarily agree with that form of gaming, but that's where we're at. And if that's what it takes for Mattel, like dollar bills.
I would, if they came up with an Elder Scrolls like Skyrim or Batman Arkham Asylum where it's like an open world of Eternia. Oh my God, would I be eating that up, and I'd lose like most of the rest of my life to that game because I'd want to unlock everything and all that stuff. One quick thing I wanted to say before we close it out too is Amazon Prime right now. Since I did it just out of curiosity, the Nee brothers, who were supposedly the directors still of this Netflix Masters of the Universe live action that we keep hearing is still happening. Amazon Prime right now, you can watch. Yes. It's going to be the 50th before we get this thing, I bet. But Amazon Prime has The Lost City on it, which is the latest movie that brother team of directors has directed, and it was out in the theater earlier this year.
Okay.
I checked it out. Not a bad little flick. It's not amazing, but I watched it going, it's entertaining. They managed to do action well. They managed to do the comedy. They had the story flowed pretty well, and under their direction, I never once looked at those actors and felt like they were bored or they weren't like at least engaged in what was going on and all that stuff. And I was like, this could maybe speak well for them going and doing something with Masters, at least, because I never saw anything they did. Right. So this is the first where I'm like, okay, this is palatable. The actors they picked, I'm okay with, and it's a little more of like a comedy, adventure, romance thing. But I mean, like it was fun just to get like, okay, this is a baseline I have now going forward. So if they do keep moving with this live action, I'm like, I'm not overly scared, not knowing what these guys have done at least.
100%. All right, we'll have to check that out. All right, guys. I think that's a show. I know it's toys. So don't worry. We'll be back soon. We'll get you some Toon content, whether that be CGI or something else. It's all going to depend on our schedules. But thanks for tuning in with us. Smash that like button, subscribe, do all that stuff. You guys
Logpod85@gmail.com if you want to send us something. Or just find us on Facebook, Legends of Grayskull Podcast. And you can talk to us there as well, or send us messages over Facebook to Matt or to me, and we'll talk shop.
Send us candy, flowers.
Yeah. Whatever you want. No dead things. That's the only request. No dead things.
I don't know though. Like a nice ribeye steak. I mean, that's technically dead.
Well, ribeye steak is one. I'm thinking like dead rats or dead.
Have you ever eaten
things
a rat?
that it's like, oh, what the hell? No.
Tastes
I
like
don't think I ever
tastes
had
like
the
chicken.
Reese.
It's fine.
Everything tastes like chicken.
Exactly.
Battle Cat would taste like chicken, I
Don't
think.
worry about it.
I don't want to eat Battle Cat, but if I had to.
If I had to. I mean, survival of the fittest. Like.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
All right, guys. Thanks for
On
tuning
that
in.
note,
Until next time, go watch CGI He-Man. It's a blast.
yeah.
Oh, come on. Oh, bear. Oh.